and welcome to another edition of Business in Motion, a program focusing on business and entrepreneurship from an African-centered perspective. I'm your host, RDL Biz Coach, and you are in for a treat today. Today is a very, very special programming for a special need in our community. That's what the deal is going to be today. But anyway, you're here. You're just going to be catching some things that should just totally, hopefully, change your perspectives about life, who you are, who we are as a people, and what we should be doing. Now, I want to say that I'm very happy to be one of the voices here on WMEG Online Radio in Baltimore, Maryland, and I can say it definitely is the #1 station in the nation with the dissemination of valuable information with no hesitation or reservation, but an obligation and dedication to the elevation of your present situation. That's what we got going on. And I got to speak to you, Rock. It's been a while. I didn't see you last week. You were hanging out in Las Vegas. Tell me a little bit about it, man.
It was hot.
You mean hot? Like
hot. Like, man, the coldest day that we had in Vegas was 108 degrees.
108?
108.
Ouch.
And they say that it was like 108, 110, 111, and they run them numbers off like it ain't nothing. You know, they used to it, but I'm like, my eyes got big. I'm looking at the Weather Channel, and they was like, oh, it's going to be a little cooler tomorrow. It's going to be 108. Oh. Man, get your mind right.
Lord have mercy. Well, I can tell you, it's definitely July because driving here, I'm driving from the D.C. up to Baltimore, and I saw 93, but that's nothing. I mean, you're talking 108. Wow, that's an extra 15 degrees.
Yeah, and it's a different heat, though. It's like here, we have like humidity and things like that. They have dry heat. So you really don't realize it until after you've been out there for an hour or so and you start feeling the drainage on your body.
Yes.
But man, listen.
It's hot.
Yes.
It's hot. I know what you mean. I mean, the day that I've seen the temperature rise the highest was one day, I think it was July or August, and I was in Sacramento, California, showing property. And this is so funny because I had a Fiat, a 128 Fiat. Fiat, if you don't know, is that 128 was a car where the front, it didn't take them a long time to design it. It didn't take a lot of creativity because the front and the back end looked exactly alike. The only difference were the lights. The headlights and the tail lights. But other than that, it looks the same, the front and the back. And that car, I won't even say what a lot of people refer to that car as being because I don't want Rock to lose his license to be on here. If I said it, it might cause some repercussions. But I can tell you this. That Fiat had an electric motor, and it would come on automatically. If the temperature got to a certain point, that motor would come on. And what happened... While we were in the house, I'm showing a husband and wife. And fortunately, they knew me. You see, we were all in the Air Force together. And I took them in the house, and as I was saying, it was 111. The hottest I've ever seen it. And we stayed in the house about 30 minutes, and when we came out, I turned the ignition, and guess what?
The car wouldn't start.
It wouldn't start. The fan had run the battery down.
Wow.
And so, unfortunately... I should say fortunately first, it was a stick shift. It was a manual shift. But guess how I got it going? The husband and the wife had to push me. This is really what happened. They pushed me and he got it. He said, let me tell you, don't ever tell anybody about this experience. Here I am telling on the air. But anyway, that's what happened to me. That was the hottest day I have seen. I won't say it felt the hottest because, again, California, you have that dry heat. Right. So it's much different from, the way it is here with that high humidity. Right. I would actually prefer a 100-degree day with low humidity versus a 90-degree with high humidity. Yes. And that's just the way that it is. Yeah, but anyway... I tell you what, as I was saying, a special broadcast, and this is just coming in light of the violence. It seems like violence has gone crazy. I'm telling you. And in light of what happened right here in Baltimore, they put Baltimore on the news all over the world. I had people down in Brazil calling me I had people from Ghana and Nigeria, the whole world got to see that.
Yes.
And I said, wow, Business in Motion is going to have to do something to address this because this has an impact. You see, the nature of the program today is basically it's like how crime and violence impacts property values, businesses, and mainly right here in the African American community. I mean, I'm not going to say only here, but most of the impact is on us in a negative way. And so that's what this program is all about today. And I'll tell you before the show is over, you're going to know the impact of crime on the black community and on your property value and your business value and all of that. And you're going to see why people are starting to get away and they're leaving. And you're going to find out where a lot of black people are leaving and headed to in 2023 and 2024. You're going to hear that coming up very, very soon. And you're going to have an understanding of the dynamics that make the same property. You can have a property, what I mean is, it can be of the same style. Let's say it's a Victorian. It has the same square footage, built the same, but in one community is worth X amount of dollars. And you go to another community, the exact same home could be worth 5 times as much. You're going to understand that and just have a better understanding as to why that actually exists. And in our last hour in the spotlight, you will hear what Mr. Stephen A. Smith, I used to call this brother Mouth Almighty, because he can talk. But anyway, you're going to see, what his feelings are about the crime in the black community in that particular expert that's going to be coming on in the second half of the show, again, in the spotlight. So that's what you got coming up today. If you want to reach out to your friends, your buddies, anybody, and tell them they ought to tune in because this is a very special show today, and there's going to be a lot of value. You're going to learn quite a bit. That's just the way that it is. And I'll tell you, just talking about the weather here and how hot it is, but it's July, so what can we expect? But the thing that blows my mind, Rock, it's like at the end of this week, we're at halftime. Yeah. For summer, it's like summer is halfway gone. This is just so hard to believe. So hard to believe, but it's halfway gone. I mean, it'll be the 15th on Friday. And so it started out pretty good. I've gotten some things in, but I realized I got to speed it up. Now, I got to get more things. I got to get to the beach. I love the beach. And even though I was down in Brazil, just a month ago and, hung out on the beach, I didn't actually get in the water. And so that's what I want to do. And I love going to Ocean City and, just hanging out. I really fell in love with Ocean City. It's a really fun place to go. And it's an expansive beach. And they've got a lot of good things going on there. So I've got to figure out somehow, some way, how to make it down and get to the beach, Ocean City or Myrtle Beach. I used to go to Myrtle Beach a lot. We would drive down, family. We would just drive down to Myrtle Beach and hang out in one of my friends' houses and just had a really good time. But Baltimore, I don't mean Baltimore, but Ocean City, I love it pretty much about the same. The water's not quite as clear, doesn't look quite as pretty, but it's good enough. Good enough for me. I'll take it. I got to figure out how to get that in. All right. And, as I mentioned, we had the 2 people who were killed and over 30 injured in a drive-by. That was just terrifying. I mean, it was just all over the news. It just puts it puts Baltimore in a bad light. It really does. With the things that's already going over here, we don't need more of that. Not at all. But, I won't really get into it a lot right now, but you're going to hear quite a bit of it as the show goes on. But one thing I can definitely say is America has a way of handling conflict or resolving issues and conflict. And, I'm telling you, Rock, look, it doesn't matter if it's in the so-called hood. It doesn't matter, if you're in an upscale community. And it doesn't matter if we're talking internationally. The United States has pretty much one way that it deals with conflict. And that's through violence. You understand? I mean, I'm looking at what's going on in the Ukraine. And I look at the things that are going on out in the Pacific Ocean. And then I come back and I look at what just went down in Baltimore and what just been going down in all these other cities. I mean, I can name, it's endless, the number and the names that I can say with these different places and cities where these atrocities have occurred. So I won't even get into it, but I'll just speak about that one in Baltimore. But it is pretty much synonymous the way that we do it from the top. If you go from Washington, D.C. on Pennsylvania Avenue, okay, Congress, and I don't know, what's on their mind, but that's the way that conflict is resolved. And it seems like if there's anything as a trickle-down effect, that is what has trickled down. Is that dealing with conflict. And so anyway, we're going to get into more of this a little bit later. But for right now, because there is so much crime and there's so many other factors going on, Black Americans are starting to shift. They're relocated and they're going different places. And this is very important to you. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, you want to know this because you want to, that's if you are represented, if you are, either way, it's good. Where people are going, there's usually a lot of activity. So that's a good place to be. So what do we want to do right now before this first segment of Business in Motion is over is I want you to hear this excerpt. And it's talking about the 10 top cities in America that Black Americans are relocating to. And it'll give you a little bit as to why. But check this out, and I'm going to be back with you before we go into our first break.
Today I'm going to tell you where Black Americans are moving to in 2023 and 2024. I get emails and requests for videos every single day. There's about 10 different questions I get weekly via email. Most are related to relocation, real estate prices, and what's a good fit for me or my family. When they ask what's a good fit, it normally is a question about fitting in. Most of those are Black Americans asking if I think whatever location they're talking about will have a problem with Black folks or mixed race families. First of all, in my opinion, it shouldn't matter. You can move wherever you want. Sadly, the reality is different. You can move to any place, but do you want to? Nothing like moving your entire family across the country for a fresh start and finding out 4 of the 10 local residents might have an issue with you moving into their neighborhood. So I wanted to make a video, but I wasn't sure how to do it without relying on reputation, rumors, and stereotypes. Then I figured I would find out what cities Black Americans have been moving to over the last 10 years. If they've been moving there, you have to assume that for the most part, it will be a friendly city for Black Americans and mixed race families. And that's what we're doing today. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Denver, Colorado. Denver is the capital of Colorado, and it's known for its beautiful scenery and mild climate until the winter hits, then it gets kind of brutal. Denver has a population of about 715,000 residents, with the entire metro area having just under 3 million. Oddly enough, they're the 19th largest city in the United States and the 19th largest metro area. Denver is a great city for people looking for a fresh start. Besides the Rocky Mountains right there, you got things like the Denver Art Museum, Denver Botanic Gardens, a lot of great microbrews, and currently about 9.8% of their population is Black or African American. Now, I will say both because some people don't like being called Black and some people don't like being called African American. Whenever I say just one, I get grief from the other side. So if you're one of the other people that feels the need to ask me why I keep saying both, that is why. Now, in the 1990s, the Black population in Denver took up about 12.8% of the population. Through the 90s and the early 2000s, the Black population in Denver continued to shrink. Sometime around 2015, it started to grow again, and by the 2020 census, they had a positive growth. The Black population has grown 11% since the 2010 census in Denver. The median income for a Black household in Denver is $58,300, which is higher than the national median. And according to Pew Research, that national median is $46,500. Number 9, Orlando, Florida. Orlando is known for its theme parks and its warm climate. Now, I don't know if this is a thing for all Floridians. I'm sure if you work there or your job depends on the theme parks there. The Floridians I know, they can't stand the Orlando area. I don't know if that's a theme throughout the state. If you're from Florida, let me know. I'm just going off what 5 or 6 people told me. It's not just the theme parks though. They have the Kennedy Space Center, the Orlando Museum of Art. All in all, I don't mind Orlando myself. I've only been there as a tourist though. though. Orlando's black population has grown by 10% since 2010, and the median household income in Orlando for a black family is $49,900, which according to Pew Research from a 2022 study, like I'd said, it's $46,500. I did see another study that said it was around $51,000, so Pew's a little more reputable. Number 8, Atlanta, Georgia. I love Atlanta. It's a little too warm for me, but I definitely love this city. It is a major economic and cultural hub for the South. It's also home to a number of Fortune 500 companies, as well as a thriving art and entertainment scene. I've mentioned this before, but a lot of movies are filmed in the Atlanta area. It seems to me that more television is now filmed in Hollywood than movies, and movies are filmed elsewhere, and Atlanta's one of the bigger places that's doing a lot of green screen and studio work. Atlanta's been known for its diverse population, and it's got a very large black community, always has, and it's getting larger. The city's black population has grown by 10% since 2010. The median income for a black household in Atlanta is $53,200. Number 7, Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville is the largest city in Florida, and I believe other than Anchorage, because Anchorage just has tons of land with nothing on it, Jacksonville's like the largest city in area. Jacksonville's another city that has a very diverse population, including a large black community, just like Atlanta. They've got a really strong economy right now, and it's getting better all the time, so that's good. And that's what's drawing a lot of people in, from not just the black community, from every community. If you ever get a chance to go see the Jacksonville Zoo, it's pretty good zoo. Jacksonville's black population has grown by 11% since 2010, and the median income for a black household in Jacksonville is $48,800, which is a little above the national average. Number 6, Dallas, Texas. Dallas is obviously one of the more popular cities to move to these days. Some people see it as a western city in a western state of Texas. Some people see it as a southern city. If it's a southern city, it's probably the most successful city in the South. But if it's a western city, it's actually the 4th as far as economy goes. Over the last 3 decades, Dallas has been a hot spot for everyone, not just the black community. When I was doing research for another video probably 2 years ago, I came across a guy who was doing a vlog about living in Dallas. He was a black gentleman. He grew up in the South. I believe he was from Mobile, Alabama, and he moved to Dallas. He mentioned some other places he had lived, but he thought Dallas was the least racist city in the South. But yeah, Dallas has a strong economy and a growing black population. Dallas's black population has grown by 12% since 2010. The median income for a black household in Dallas is $54,700, which is almost $8,000 more than the national average. Number 5, Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is one of my favorite Texas cities. I really like San Antonio, but Austin's pretty cool too. If you don't know, Austin is known for its live music scene. They're like the live music capital of the world, they call themselves. This might not be a nice thing to say about them, but they're a lot like Portland, Oregon. They're like Portland, Oregon with half the problems. Austin has one of the best music festivals in the country, which is Austin City Limits. Happens like early October every year. What I really like about it is how it's not just one type of music. Give you an example. This October on Saturday, it's the Foo Fighters, rock band, Shania Twain, country western singer, the 1975 pop rock, and then followed up by Alanis Morissette. Those are the headliners for that night. Anyway, Austin's black population has grown by 13% since 2010, and the median income for a black household in Austin is $54,700, just like Dallas. Number 4, Houston, Texas. Yep, we're staying in Texas with Houston, the 4th largest city in the United States and home to one of the largest diverse populations in the nation. This is another city with a really strong economy and a variety of industries, including energy, healthcare, and manufacturing. Houston's got some problems, and in my opinion, it's probably the worst major city to move to in the state of Texas. But that doesn't mean it's completely 100% bad. A lot of people have moved out in recent years, but I think the black community is seeing this as an opportunity. Houston's black population has grown by 14% since 2010, and the median income for a black household in Houston is $49,200. Number 3, Nashville, Tennessee. You know, the good city in Tennessee. Actually, there's several. They just got one that's completely horrible, and that's Memphis. I said something horrible about Memphis in a past video a couple months back, I think. A guy emailed me and said, "Don't come to Memphis, homie. If you do, I want to know." I said, "I can tell you something now. Learn how to spell homie. It's not Homey. Unless you're trying to say I'm pleasantly comfortable and cozy." Nashville is another city that is known for its music scene, all the way back to the 1950s. Well, it was going on there before the 1950s, but the Nashville sound originated during the mid-1950s as a subgenre of American country music. And back then, it replaced the chart dominance of the rough honky-tonk country music. Nashville has a very diverse population, and their black population has grown by 15% since 2010. The median income for a black household in Nashville is $49,500. Number 2, Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh has become a hot spot for a lot of different demographics over the last 10 years. I mean, pretty much every demographic has been moving to Raleigh for the last 10 years or so. Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina, and it's known for its high quality of life, which it has an outstanding quality of life. The city has a strong economy and a growing black population. There's a lot of universities up in this part of North Carolina, like North Carolina State University's there. You got North Carolina Central University up there in Durham, and of course you have the University of North Carolina over at Chapel Hill. Raleigh's black population has grown by 16% since 2010. The median income for a black household in Raleigh is $53,800. All right, before we get to number 1, we have a new channel called The Sweet Life with Briggs. It's all about traveling and hotels and cruise ships, things like that. There's only one video on there right now that explains what the channel's all about. Go over and subscribe. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte is a major banking and financial center. It's like the biggest in the South. The city has a strong economy and a growing black population. It wasn't always this way though. They've changed in the last 20 or 30 years in a big way. If you want to see something cool in Charlotte, North Carolina, go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It is very interesting. Charlotte has definitely become a hotspot for the black and African American community. The city's black population has grown by 17% since 2010. The median income for a black household in Charlotte, North Carolina is $57,100. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.
And there you have it right there. You see where black people are migrating to in 2023 and 2024. And I'm not shocked. I feel something. There's some sort of a feeling. Just knowing that the number 1 and number 2 cities that blacks are relocating to happen to be in North Carolina, and they happen to be places that I have lived. Raleigh. I grew up right outside of Raleigh and spent lots of time in Charlotte. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be in Charlotte and Raleigh the past weekend. Couldn't make it. But, you know, it's just amazing that people all of a sudden are starting to see some of the advantages. Now, I have stated for years that blacks will fare better there. Actually, I didn't just say there. I said Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. From my perspective, from everything I've seen, happen to be the cities where black people actually live the best if you take all things into consideration. And it hadn't changed. I think the only thing that has changed is now people are starting to realize it. They're becoming aware of this, and they're relocating to these areas. But to me, none of this is new. All right, so we're getting ready to go into our first break. You're going to hear a good sound, a very good tune, something I like to chill out to. Is what they used to say, a blast from the past. Okay, but this is Dee Dee Sharp, and she used to be with Philadelphia International up there. I think she was married to one of them Gamble Huff brothers or somebody up there. You know, she had a very strong relationship with. But this song is entitled "I Really Love to See You Tonight." We're going to see you as soon as this is over. Don't go anywhere. We're really going to start getting deep into things in the next segment of Business in Motion. I'll see ya.